Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. And today we're going to be doing my Nightwing timeline. Now, I've done several timeline videos before. I've done quite a few Batman timelines. I'm probably going to do more. I've done Wonder Woman timeline, and I've done just recently my Teen Titan timeline. And basically, for those of you that don't know what my timeline videos are, so I take all my graphic novels and stories from a particular title or character and lay them down and show you exactly in what order the story should be read, the exact chronological order of the story. Now this time I'm going to be doing Nightwing, and I have pretty much all but one Nightwing story. So I'm going to lay down all my Nightwing stories, as you can see down there, and give you when the Nightwing stories are supposed to take place and exactly what years that they're supposed to take place too, because this is not just showing you what order the stories take place in, but exactly what time frame the stories take place in too, hence timeline. Now just to let you know, seeing that this is a Nightwing timeline, it's only going to focus on Nightwing stories. There's going to be no stories of Dick Grayson as Robin or Batman in this, just him as Nightwing. So with that said, let's get this video going. Okay, here's the timeline right here. Now, I am missing one Nightwing story, and that would be Nightwing the Hunt for Oracle. I haven't been able to get my hands on it. I'm probably going to pick it up at either Comic-Con or pick it up online. It's a little bit rare and a teeny bit expensive. Not like ridiculous expensive, but like $30 online, so I just haven't gotten around to getting it. It goes, I believe, either before or after Darkest Shade of Justice. I believe it's the 4th volume in the ongoing Nightwing series. So with that said, let's get this timeline started. It's going to be a little bit short of a video because it's a bit smaller of a timeline. One more thing before I actually get into this is when I refer to years, I'm going to refer to them in Batman years. It's a lot easier to refer to them in Batman years rather than Dick Grayson years. So with that said, when I say this is like the 3rd or 4th or 7th or 10th or 9 millionth year of Batman's career, you'll understand that I'm using Batman years. So with that said, let's go over to the first part, and I'm going to include the Judas contract, more of as a side note rather than part of the timeline, because this is the first time we see Dick Grayson as Nightwing. So if you want to see his first appearance as Nightwing ever, then you want to pick up the Judas contract. But this is more as a side note. So with that said, let's get things started. And let's start things off with Nightwing Year 1. This is started by Chuck Dixon, the Batman Master, and this takes place around the 7th year of Batman's career. And this is where we get to see the transition of Dick Grayson from Robin into Nightwing. It ties in kind of good with the Judas contract and fills in any of the holes that the Judas contract had with him becoming Nightwing. So there's Nightwing Year 1. Now, moving on, we have Nightwing, The Ties That Bind, by Dennis O'Neil, the other Batman Master. The Ties That Bind take place roughly after Nightfall, so around the 9th or 10th year of Batman's career. Well, more or less the 9th year, because No Man's Land's the 10th year. This is where we get to see the costume change from the traditional Nightwing costume to the more modernized Nightwing costume. So, The Ties That Bind, again, during the Nightwing era, a little bit afterwards. Then we go into the ongoing Nightwing series, and it starts off with A Night in Bloodhaven, and this is where we start Chuck Dixon as the writer of Nightwing. These stories take place a little bit before No Man's Land, so again around the 9th year of Batman's career. Then we go into Rough Justice and Love and Bullets. Now these stories, I believe, take place during No Man's Land because there's many references to it. And then we go into Darkest Shade of Justice, which again goes into No Man's Land. We have Big Guns, On the Razor's Edge, and this ends Chuck Dixon as the writer on Nightwing, which is pretty sad. One thing I want to say is before we continue the timeline, after On the Razor's Edge to Mobbed Up, there's many Nightwing stories missing, many issues. They haven't been collected into trade, and another reason for this is because many of them were used for Batman tie-ins, like Bruce Wayne Murderer and the Fugitive series. So a lot of those stories aren't included into trade. So there's a big gap between On the Razor's Edge and Mobbed Up. So with that said, we have On the Razor's Edge, and then we have that big gap, and we go to Mobbed Up. And Mobbed Up takes place before the Infinite Crisis, a little bit beforehand. This is after Nightwing allows Blockbuster to die. Then we go into Renegade, which is the last story before the Infinite Crisis, and this is where we get the proposal of Dick Grayson to Barbara Gordon. This is around, again, the 11th to 12th year of Batman's career, depending on how you do Batman years, which is quite a rough subject to do. Then we have the Infinite Crisis, and we have the 1 year later stories, which is Nightwing, Brothers in Blood, Love and War, where we get Marv Wolfman jump back on the title from Love and War to Lost Year, which fills in the gap of the missing year. Then Marv Wolfman leaves, and we finish off Nightwing with Freefall and The Great Leap, which takes place around the after Batman R.I.P., even though the issues came out before Batman R.I.P. But when you read it, you understand. So with that said, I know I kind of jumbled this up. Let's do a quick recap. Again, the first appearance of Nightwing is in the Judas Contract. Then we have Nightwing Year 1, Nightwing, The Ties That Bind, Nightwing, A Night in Bloodhaven, Rough Justice, Love and Bullets, A Darker Shade of Justice. And again, remember the Hunt for Oracle is in here. Big Guns, On the Razor's Edge, Mobbed Up, Renegade. Then we have the 1 year later stories with Brothers in Blood, Love and War, The Lost Years, Freefall, and lastly, The Great Leap. So with that said, let's finish up this video. Okay, so that is the timeline. I hope that was helpful for you, for anyone that wants to read Nightwing. Again, it's kind of a short timeline, because unfortunately some of the Nightwing issues weren't collected into trade. So, with that said, with the exception of Hunt for Oracle, that's every Nightwing story that you should go and pick up if you do plan on going after Nightwing as a comic to read. And I would recommend it because a lot of the Nightwing stories are fun. There is a few bad in there, but like the Chuck Dixon writing error on Nightwing, beautiful. So with that said, I hope that was helpful. Expect more timeline videos to come. If there's a specific timeline that you kind of want to see, and I'm able to do it, I'm not always able to do timelines, but if I'm able to do it, let me know, and I will do the best I can. So with that said, I'm going to end this video here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.